There are specific film moments that are recognizable by even the most casual moviegoer. E.T. flying across the moon, Rocky Balboa running up the steps, Indiana Jones sprinting from an approaching boulder. These beautiful shots left such an impression it's virtually impossible to forget them. And there are some scenes which everyone remembers vividly, even if they don't want to. The horror genre has given birth to a myriad of haunting imagery that's sure to disturb the most hardcore fans, and the human brain has a nasty habit of remembering these spine-tingling visuals forever. So let's have a look back at them, as I'm Adam from What Culture, and here are 10 most unnerving shots in horror movies. Number 10. I Saw Her Face, The Ring. The Ring is among the few horror remakes that's on par with its predecessor. Like the original, Gore Verbinski's Spookfest focuses on subdued atmosphere and uneasy tension to keep the viewers on edge. But since this is an American remake, it has a few added jump scares. Although this technique can be gimmicky, it's utilized flawlessly here from the very beginning. In the prologue, two teenagers, Katie and Becca, are discussing a cursed VHS cassette that supposedly causes the viewer to die in 7 days after watching it. Shortly after Katie admits she's watched this tape, she is killed off-screen by a mysterious entity. At Katie's funeral, investigative journalist Rachel speaks to her mother Ruth, hoping to learn more about the teen's death. Ruth begs Rachel to uncover the truth about her daughter, stating how she saw her face. The scene then jump cuts to Katie's dead body, her face etched in unspeakable agony and fear. This heart-pounding sequence resonates because it comes out of the blue. All Ruth was doing up until this point was washing the dishes. As such, viewers let their guard down just before getting the fright of their life. Number 9. Cheese Grater, Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise is a movie which fully deserves its R rating, but because Evil Dead lovers expect over-the-top violence, many fans didn't bat an eyelid while watching the film's most brutal sequences. However, nobody was ready for the cheese grater scene. After Bridget goes full deadite, she attacks her Aunt Beth while in the kitchen. With box grater in hand, Bridget slams it onto Beth's leg before slicing away a sizable portion of her calf. The already disturbing visual leaves a massive impression, since it's accompanied by an unbearable scraping sound and Lily Sullivan's unbelievable scream of agony. Even though there are far more agonizing moments, this visual stands out, since it's surprisingly believable. Despite the fact a grater isn't considered dangerous, it can easily be used as a lethal weapon that turns human skin into chunks of parmesan. Number 8. Liberate TUTEMET ex INFERIS, Event Horizon. Event Horizon mightn't be everyone's cup of tea, but it's impossible to fault the gore. Although this haunted house in space flick has a stack of teeth-chattering visuals, learning what happened to the titular crew is pure nightmare fuel. When the crew activated the ship's engine to teleport across the solar system, they were accidentally transported to hell. After the Lewis and Clark rescue team discovers the ship's final log, they see the Event Horizon's trans-dimensional trip drove the crew irreversibly insane, compelling them to mutilate each other to death. The footage concludes with the captain holding his gouged eyeballs in his hands, while uttering the Latin phrase, Liberate TUTEMET ex INFERIS, meaning save yourself from hell. Interestingly, this scene, as well as most of the gory sequences, were much longer, but were toned down to secure Event Horizon an R rating. Bizarrely, this decision makes this scene pack a bigger punch. Since only snippets of the crew's death are shown, the viewer's imagination fills in the rest, forcing them to picture something far, far worse than anything that could ever be depicted on screen. Number 7. She's on the Ceiling, Hereditary. Hereditary is filled with creative leap-out-of-your-skin moments. However, the most creepiest moments are far more subtle. Rather than stuffing every scene with an extravagant jump scare, viewers find themselves more unnerved when they're unsure what they witnessed. Not everyone clocked the naked cult members outside Annie's room during the climax. When Annie's deceased mother seemingly appears in her room, viewers aren't sure if their eyes are playing tricks on them. Still, the best subtle scare is when the possessed Annie hides in the bedroom of her son, Peter. After hearing a noise outside, Peter wakes up and rises from his bed. As the camera cuts to a shot of the entire room, Peter's mother can be seen in the top left corner of the ceiling. Because Annie doesn't move and the lack of light, it's difficult to tell if she's really there. Some viewers notice Annie straight away, while others don't see her until the very end. But the moment she's spotted, viewers are immediately gripped, especially since the camera lingers on this one shot for a full minute. Number 6. Can I Pick Your Brain? Hannibal. Hannibal concludes with the charismatic cannibal rescuing Clarice from the diabolic Mason Berger before seeking refuge in Agent Paul Krendler's home. Before Krendler jeopardized Clarice's career and gave Hannibal up to Mason, viewers know things aren't going to end well for him. However, nobody is ready for this finale. As a drugged up Clarice heads to the dining table, Hannibal brings over Krendler, who's noticeably worse for wear. With little warning, Hannibal removes Krendler's cranium, exposing his bloody brain. While Clarice looks on in horror, Hannibal casually slices off a slither of Krendler's prefrontal lobe before cooking it in a nearby pan. After the succulent meat is tendered, Hannibal offers it to Krendler, who eats it without hesitance. As disturbing as this premise is, it's Krendler's unrealistic calmness that sells it. Because of the sedatives he's on, he's oblivious to his less than ideal circumstances. This makes it more unsettling when he compliments the smell of his cooked brain and wolfs it down in one bite. Being the final victim of Hannibal Lecter, it's fitting how Paul Krendler suffered the most over-elaborate kill in the whole franchise. Number 5. Girl in the Tent, The Sixth Sense. In The Sixth Sense, psychiatrist Malcolm Crowe tries to help a troubled boy named Cole, who has been tormented by ghosts. Malcolm believes Cole should use his power to help the spirits resolve their unfinished business. This is easier said than done, since ghosts are really scary. After hearing a strange noise in his house, Cole knows a phantom is nearby, and so hides inside his makeshift tent. After the tent roof comes undone, Cole sees the spirit of a gaunt girl called Kyra in front of him, vomiting profusely. What makes this scene highly effective is how this ghost isn't depicted in a conventionally scary way. Instead, she appears to be terrified, confused, and in a great deal of pain. What's worse is that it's later revealed Kyra is puking because her stepmother poisoned her to death. Although a lot of jump scares lose their power when rewatched, this moment is more disturbing when viewers understand how Kyra met her demise. Kyra may not have been the first ghost seen in the film, but she was definitely the most unsettling. Number 4. A Quick Shave, Cabin Fever. After watching Eli Roth's Cabin Fever, most viewers will never look at shaving or bathing the same way again, all because of that scene. The film opens with 5 college students having a run-in with a hobo in the woods. When they learn the tramp harbors a flesh-eating virus, the group turn on each other, assuming one of them has been exposed. Sure enough, Marcy learns she's carrying the disease in the worst way imaginable. To get her mind off everything going on, Marcy tries to have a relaxing bubble bath. While shaving her legs, Marcy notices bleeding scabs on her skin, proving she's been infected. Blubbering to herself, Marcy is compelled to keep shaving, exposing more of her discolored flesh in the process. As disturbing as it is to watch this scene, it's the sound effects that give viewers the heebie-jeebies. Listening to the razor cleaving its way through Marcy's decomposing skin truly is the stuff of nightmares. Even though the Cabin Fever franchise has its fair share of creepy imagery, there isn't a single scene that comes close to matching this moment. Number 3. The Birth, Men. Men centers around a widow, Harper Marlowe, who heads to a country estate shortly after losing her husband. During her stay, she notices something peculiar about the locals. They all look the same. Furthermore, everyone in the village treats Harper with disrespect, disregard, or aggression. As they continue to harass Harper, these individuals start performing supernatural acts, such as teleportation and shapeshifting. In the movie's final moments, one assailant gives birth to a boy in front of Harper. The child's tummy swells to immense size before the vicar crawls out of his belly button. The vicar then births Harper's landlord through his back, who then births Harper's deceased husband through his mouth. As disturbing as this birthing cycle is, it's the visual of a heavily pregnant and naked boy bloodied and screaming that's sure to stick with viewers for a very, very long time. Number 2. The decomposed woman, The Shining. The Shining has an excess of eerie imagery capable of making the most devoted horror fans recoil in fright. But if any moment is destined to give viewers goosebumps for life, it has to be the woman in the bathroom. As Jack Torrance is drawn to the mysterious room 237, he opens the door where he sees a beautiful naked woman standing in the bath. As the young lady approaches him, Jack is unable to control his urges and so gives her a passionate kiss. But after catching their reflection in the mirror, Jack sees the enigmatic woman is an elderly and rotting corpse. Her true form exposed, the woman lets out a maniacal laugh as she shambles towards Jack. Scared out of his wits, Jack stumbles out of the room and locks the door as the decomposing woman continues to cackle to herself. Because The Shining is shrouded in ambiguity, it's a movie that benefits from repeated viewings. But no matter how many times viewers rewatch this scene, it never loses its power. Number 1. She's Still Alive, Terrifier 2. Ali's death in Terrifier 2 is so unfathomably gruesome, it's difficult to summarize. After Art the Clown breaks into her house, he uses scissors to slice through her face, cutting her eyeball in half. If this was any other slasher, Ali would have died then and there. However, Art is just getting started. For the next 4 minutes, the twisted jester forces Ali to endure more agony than any human being can ever imagine. Despite Ali's best efforts to escape, Art rips off her scalp, stabs her repeatedly, skins her back, and snaps her forearm until the bone protrudes through the elbow. Then he contorts her arm in every direction before pulling it clean off. After that, the demonic clown rips her other hand in half before leaving. Upon his exit, it looks like Art has left Ali to bleed out. Suddenly, he returns with bleach and salt, pouring the powder into Ali's open wounds before hacking her face off. But it's not over. When Ali's mother arrives home later, she enters her daughter's bedroom only to see Art eating the poor girl's mutilated body. Just when things look like they couldn't get any worse, the seemingly dead Ali wakes up and looks at her mother with her remaining eye and whispers, "Mom?" Even though this scene is one of the most gruesome movie sequences in recent memory, it's Ali's helpless plea to her mother that hits hardest. And there we have it, folks, our list of unnerving shots in horror movies. But please do let us know down in the comments which particular scene in horror movies you just cannot get over. And while you're there, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. If you want to follow me on socials, I am at Strawn87 on Twitter and on Instagram. Come say hello to me on there. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, take care.